Welcome. Today is Sunday, December 30th, 2018. Here's what's what. The average American adult has gained a lot of weight over recent decades to the point of being just a few pounds short of obesity, U.S. officials reported last week. After compiling findings from a 2015-2016 health survey of more than 5,000 U.S. adults, CDC compared them with prior surveys going back to the early 1960s. They concluded mean weight, waist circumference, and BMI, body mass index, in adults have increased over the past 18 years. Conversely, mean height did not change in many demographic subgroups, and in some groups was lower in 2015-2016 than in 1999-2000. In the early 1960s, the average man was slightly more than 5 feet 8 inches and weighed 166 pounds, and the average woman was 5 feet 3 inches and 140 pounds. The latest survey data indicate that men are 5 feet 9 inches, gaining an inch since the 1960s, and are more than 30 pounds heavier. Women are 5 feet 4 inches and about 30 pounds heavier. Older adults generally followed the overall pattern, a steady weight gain since the 1960s, with height averages leveling off or dipping in the past decade. Among those ages 40 to 59, the latest average for men is 200.9 pounds and for women 176.4 pounds. Among those age 60 and older, men are on average 194.7 pounds and women 166.5 pounds. The nation's oldest World War II veteran, the country's oldest man, and the third oldest man in the world, died in an Austin, Texas care home Thursday night from complications of pneumonia. He was 112 years old. Richard Overton fought on Guam and Iwo Jima in World War II, receiving numerous citations, including the Combat Infantry Badge. He began his military career with the Army on September 3, 1940, at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. Overton once attributed his long life to smoking cigars and drinking whiskey-stiffened coffee. A Swiss university is taking yodeling to the next level. Lucerne University of Applied Sciences and Arts is offering bachelor's and master's degree programs in yodeling. The school's yodeling classes stress vocal training and a broad repertoire spanning from traditional Swiss yodeling all the way to modern variants. The 3-year bachelor's and 2-year master's programs are available to anyone from anywhere in the world. But in order to pass the entrance exam, you'll need to have prior yodeling experience, and you should also know German. NAVIEN Inc. of Irvine, California is recalling about 3,400 NAVIEN condensing tankless water heaters and combination boilers. A kit installed on the tankless water heaters and boilers to convert them from natural gas to propane can cause the unit to produce excessive amounts of carbon monoxide, posing a risk of carbon monoxide poisoning to consumers. No incidents or injuries have been reported. This recall involves only NAVIEN condensing tankless water heaters and combination boilers with model numbers NPE-180A, NPE-180S, and NCB-180E that have been or will be converted from using natural gas to propane gas. The water heaters and boilers, manufactured in South Korea, were sold at wholesale distributors to installers nationwide from August 2018 through October 2018. Turning to birthdays for today, December 30th. LeBron James is 34 today. LeBron is an American professional basketball player for the Los Angeles Lakers. Tracy Ullman turns 59. Tracy is an English actress, comedian, screenwriter, producer, director, and author. She starred in her own network television comedy series, The Tracy Ullman Show, from 1987 until 1990, which also featured the first appearances of the animated sitcom The Simpsons. Sean Hannity is 57. Sean is an American talk show host and political commentator. He is the host of The Sean Hannity Show, a nationally syndicated talk radio show. Sean also hosts a cable news show, Hannity, on Fox News. Tiger Woods is 43 today. Tiger is an American professional golfer who is among the most successful golfers and one of the most popular athletes of the 21st century. Tiger has been one of the highest paid athletes in the world for several years. Tiger is generally considered one of the greatest golfers of all times. What happened on this date, December 30th? The Ginza Line, the subway portion between Ueno and Asakusa in Tokyo, Japan, was completed in 1927 and publicized as the first underground railway in the Orient. Upon its opening, the line was so popular that passengers often had to wait more than 2 hours to ride a train for a 5-minute trip. The United Auto Workers Union in 1936 stages its first sit-down strike. In 1958, the Guatemalan Air Force sinks several Mexican fishing boats alleged to have breached maritime borders, killing 3 and sparking international tension. And in 1996, proposed budget cuts by Benjamin Netanyahu sparked protests from workers who shut down services across Israel. Nestle sees the future in a meat-free burger made from soy and wheat protein. The Swiss company is gearing up for its biggest push yet into the booming vegan market, the Incredible Burger, to be introduced under the Garden Gourmet label next spring. As consumers swap meat for leafy greens, Nestle wants to turn the trend in plant-based eating into a billion-dollar business. While Nestle and its competitors have been dabbling in vegan fare for years, growth has become more essential amid stagnant sales of mainstream supermarket brands, many of whose products contain dairy and meat, which vegans don't consume. Nestle is racing against new rivals, Unilever, and new entrants like Beyond Meat, backed by Bill Gates and Leonardo DiCaprio. The Indonesian volcano, which caused a tsunami that killed more than 400 people last week, lost more than 2/3 of its height, following the eruption which triggered the killer waves. A section of Anak Krakatoa's crater collapsed after the eruption and slid into the ocean, generating the tsunami last Saturday night. A visual analysis by the Indonesian Volcanology Agency found the volcano has lost more than 2/3 of its height. Anak Krakatoa, which used to stand 338 meters, 1,109 feet, high, was now just 110 meters, 360 feet, tall. The agency estimated the volcano lost between 150 and 180 million cubic meters of material as massive amounts of rock and ash have been slowly sliding into the sea following a series of eruptions. Anak Krakatoa is now much shorter. Usually you can see the peak from the observatory post. Now you can't. Before and after satellite images taken by Japan's space agency showed that a 2-square-kilometer chunk of the volcanic island had collapsed into the water. The volcano, whose name means Child of Krakatoa, was a new island that emerged around 1928 in the crater left by Krakatoa, whose massive 1883 eruption killed at least 36,000 people. Japan executed 2 death row inmates Thursday morning, a move that raises the total number of executions in the country this year to 15, the most since 2008. The 2 were a former senior member of a crime syndicate and a former investment advisor. They were sentenced to death for the murder-robbery of the president and an employee of an investment advisory company in 1988. The hanging of the 2 brought the number of executions under the government of Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to 36. The death penalty is carried out by hanging in an execution chamber within the detention center. The method of hanging is the long drop, causing a quick death by neck fracture. The executions were the first since July, when a cult guru and 12 former members of the cult were executed over a 2-day period. With the executions of the 2, the number of inmates under sentence of death stands at 109 in Japan. A team of researchers at the University of Gothenburg has found that when infants live with pets, they grow up to have fewer allergies and other diseases. It's commonly believed that allowing infants and children to come into contact with germs helps their immune system to grow stronger, offering them more protection later in life. Researchers found that the incidence of allergies, which in this study included asthma, eczema, and hay fever, was 49% for children who had not been exposed to pets as infants. That number fell to 43% for children who had lived with a single pet as an infant, and down to 24% for children who had lived with 3 pets. Researchers will study the gut health of people with Alzheimer's to see if diet can play a role in managing the behavioral and psychological symptoms of the disease. The University of Aberdeen study, which is the first of its kind, will recruit participants from local care homes. The population of microbes, including bacteria, inside the human gut is known as the gut microbiota. A diverse and balanced population of gut microbiota is important for maintaining a strong immune system and aiding digestion. There is increasing evidence that suggests the gut microbiota is a key link between specific nutrients and brain function. This first study aims to collect samples from 3 groups of people: people with dementia and challenging behavior, people with dementia without challenging behavior, and a control group of people without dementia. By studying these samples, the researchers hope to identify whether or not there are notable differences in the gut diversity of these 3 study groups. If successful, this study could act as the first step towards establishing a link between diet and behavior. It has become evident that there is a two-way communication between the gut microbiome and the brain. That relationship is not yet fully understood, but the goal is to identify whether changes in diet can affect the clinical symptoms associated with dementia.